everybody, welcome back. This is episode 52 of Dead Money. Like and subscribe to this fucking thing so that you know when there's another episode. I come to you this week. I have to go to New York to go watch my friend get married. Boy, I really hate going to fucking weddings. You get a wedding invitation in the mail, you are getting a bill, okay? No more, no less. But that's alright. It's good for him. In any event, since I gotta fly out later today, I'll probably keep this week's episode. Maybe I'll split them into two. But we got some zany stories and things like that, and some other hand histories. Probably just gonna jump around. I want to talk about a hand that took place at the Venetian 3-5. We have a man on my right. He's an older guy, never seen him before, and he is not protecting his cards. He was consistently peeling back both of his cards, and I could see exactly what both of them were. And I didn't even have to, move my head. It's basically giving me a sweat. And I've said before here that when people are going to do that, I just have no mercy whatsoever. I don't even give them a warning. I'm never going to, lean over to try and, see someone's cards, because you can't do that, but look, if you don't have the good sense to know how to look at your cards without protecting them, I'm not there to help you. I'm not doing you any favors. It's just not something I'm going to do. I mean, if I were playing on a live stream or something, maybe then I would say it. But I'm not playing on a live stream. I'm playing in a public casino with random people. Anyway, so he opens 20 in the cutoff with Jack 9 suited. I got King 8 off on the button. And I 3-bet him to 60 because if the smaller big blind has something, I don't want to be in too deep. And I also don't really want him to fold Jack 9 suited, so I just picked my standard 3-bet size when I'm in position. Just go pot. And I get exactly what I want. Well, actually, it would have been better if he had 4-bet, but he calls, so that's fine. So he's got Jack 9 suited versus King 8 off, and of course the flop comes 9-7-4 with 1 spade. And he checked. And you know something? I think I can just start barreling now anyway. And even if the board runs out clean, I can just triple it off and see if he wants to call down with a weak top pair. But I just checked right back, and wow, what a turn card. The ace of spades. Perfect card for me, and it gives him a flush draw. So he checks, and I bet 155. I didn't overbet as much as I should have, actually. I mean, he's not going to fold that hand. I mean, I probably could have gone at least 200. I mean, he's going to assume at this point that I'm going to have a lot of ace-king type hands and that he's got a million outs and all these implied odds, so he probably would have called at least 200, but whatever. He called the 155, and I don't hit my 2-outer at this point. I needed a king that wasn't a spade. He checks. I bet pretty big, I don't know, like 550, I think. I mean, and he folded. He didn't fold right away. I mean, I don't know if he was saving face or what he was doing, but he didn't call. And this would be the biggest pot I would win this day at the Venetian. I played a couple hands with the German reg I mentioned in a recent episode where he just cold decked the absolute motherfucking shit out of me. Just a quick recap there. I raised with ace-queen of diamonds and went 4-way. It went 10-jack-4, I think, on the flop with 2 clubs and a diamond. So I got Broadway draw, backdoor, not flush draw. Almost check flop, bet 45, he 10 call, big blind calls, turns a 9 of diamonds, so king queen is the nuts. I'm drawing in the nuts both ways now. Big blind checks, I almost check again. I end up betting 150. German reg flats with king queen of clubs. He's got the nuts and the redraw. He flats this hand and gets lucky enough to have the big blind jam. About 500 total. I call, and then he gets to rejam. And then I have to call again, and he has the nut straight versus the other nut straight against the big blind, has the free roll, hits the free roll. Living right he was. Anyway, so he's in the game, and I 3-bet him early on with ace-4 suited when he raised to 20, and there was 1 or 2 calls. And he's like, you're coming back for your money. You want your money back. I'm like, yes. I'm 3-betting the small blind 3 days after this happened. Not because I have a good hand to 3-bet with, because I want $20 at a time back from you specifically. I mean, look, he was kidding, but whatever. What the fuck is he talking about? Anyway, he's not that fucking good, this guy. I raised with ace king. I think we went heads up, and I don't even remember this hand that well. I just know that I flopped a pair, and there was a flush draw, and he check called flop, and then there was a two-tone board on the turn, and he checks, and I don't block either flush draw, and I just overbet the turn, and he folds, and it's like, this is not really a bad result. I mean, there's just a lot of rivers that I'm not going to be able to bet, or I'm going to be afraid to bet, because I know this guy can check strong hands on the river, and if he has top pair, I mean, probably not folding. I mean, he's probably folding a lot of things to a lot of sizes, so when you get like the king 10 7 4 two-tone board and all you have is ace king with no blockers to the flush draws, I mean, getting a fold isn't terrible. I mean, it's like the hand's like very strong, but it's also very weak. Jumping around to a game at the Win, I think it was later that day actually. It was a new table that I transferred into, so I was still new. There was a man who recognized me in the game, because he said to me, we got the baseball playoffs going on. He said to me, he's like, wow, he's like, no, Mets jersey today? I was like, no, I only wear that 364 days a year. Anyway, I thought I recognized his face, but I didn't remember too much about him. All I know is he looked like a fish. So then we have a hand where there's a limp, and there's a raise to 15. And whenever there's a raise to 15 over a limp, I'm looking to punish that as much as I can. I mean, a lot of people open 3x, but when they open 3x over a limp, it's just, even if it's like a somewhat decent hand, like sixes or sevens, it's not a hand that's going to be thrilled to face a big 3-bet. So I just look to jump on that kind of marginal stuff whenever I can. Anyway, he opens 15. There's 3 calls, including the button. I got ace-5 of diamonds in the big blind. I make it 115, and only the button calls a second time. And this was the fishy player who asked about my Mets jersey. Now, when it comes to 3-betting this hand out of position, I mean, you're going to be called by hands that have you dominated sometimes, but, I have a little faith in yourself playing out of position against somebody who is not going to be that great of a player. I mean, I've been thinking about tightening up my out of position 3-bet ranges against players who are, even if they're not brilliant, I mean, they're going to go to the flop with the right ranges, and they're not going to make too many big blunders because they're in position. It's hard. But against this guy, who I don't expect to play great post-flop and also have a hand worse than mine pretty often, or I don't know how often, relatively often, it's like, okay, let's navigate this. And I get kind of an annoying flop. I get 10-6-5, 2 clubs, no diamonds, so you got just a pure bottom pair. So I check over to him, and he bets 115. He bet like a little under half. I thought about check raising, but if I'm going to check raise, I think I just have to overjam. Anyway, I just ended up calling. I didn't think he had that strong of a hand, though. The turn was a 3. It was pretty much a brick. I check, and now he bets 205, and once again, he's only betting about 40% pot, I guess. There's about 500 out there, and I thought for a little bit, and I just could not see him using value for this size. Like, if he had any 10, I didn't think he'd be going this small. I thought he'd be going significantly larger. And I don't think he's doing this with just a 6 or like pocket 8s or pocket 9s, and it took me a little while to work myself up the courage to do it, because if I'm wrong, it's just going to feel like such a massive, massive, massive punt. Behind the 205, he wasn't that deep, so it's not like I'm going for this dramatic jam here. I mean, it just... Still, though, it was enough of a jam that, like, if you're wrong... But I push the button. I jam. No snap call. I mean, he's thinking for a little bit, and... All right, I guess I have to, and then he calls... River's another 3. It's a club, so front door flushes. Show the ace-5, and I lose to ace-jack of clubs. So he had me dominated going to the flop. Then I hit my 3-outer, as he also flops a nut flush draw, so it's not like he flopped that bad. Starts semi-bluffing flop once I check to him, does so again on the turn, and then felt like he was priced in after my turn jam against my exact hand. He was. So he's got 12 outs, I guess, and they got there yet again in a significant all-in. Okay. I felt good about the fact, though, that at least I was right. And in fact, I'd rather have this result than get it in crushed and suck out on the river from a psychological standpoint. I'd feel much better about what happened than if I had sucked out. But had I sucked out, or just won with the best hand, I wouldn't have been that upset about it. Which brings us back to another day where I was in a situation where another opponent was not protecting his cards. This time it's a reg who I've seen a bunch the last couple of years, I guess. And he's okay. I mean, I don't know what the fuck. I always wonder how much people are really winning in these games, what their situation is. Like, are they playing as regs trying to make money, or do they just have money or something set up for them? I mean, are they breaking even? I don't know. All I know is this guy just seems to sun run the shit out of me. I never seem to have a spot against him. And if I'm bluffing, he just seems to have a set every time. So, okay. But anyway, he does not protect his hand, and he's got king jack off in the small blind. He limps. He's got like 600. I got 6 deuce off in the big blind, and I raise to 20, and he jams. He jams about 650 with king jack off after I made it 20. It's valuable information for later. I mean, whenever you see people make these kinds of moves, like, it's a hand that's like not going to be good. Like, it's not a hand they want to get called by. It's just a hand they don't want to play, but they figure it could be better than yours. You're going to fold a lot, and they don't feel like having you call their limp raise or 4-bet them, and now they have to actually make a decision. So instead, they just hang themselves, and if you have like pocket queens or something, they're just going to get their stack in and be way behind. So, when people are sun running you, oftentimes it just continues, doesn't it? It can go on for your entire lifetime against them because you're only going to get so many hours playing against them. But before I folded, no, wait, I snap folded. I didn't put on any show. But I was thinking afterwards, I was like, it's just, how does this fucking guy, even when I know what he has, he's still just, this goes perfectly for him. I mean, I almost checked the big blind because I only have 6 deuce off. And I thought, what the fuck are you doing? Build the pot. You know what he fucking has. You're not going to make any mistakes post-flop. You're going to make the correct decision 100% of the time in every situation. So why would you not raise? Oh, well, because he might limp jam $650 fucking dollars. Maybe that's a reason not to raise. Why couldn't I just have ace deuce off one time, right? And just like, then I would go through a whole tank, oh God, I don't think, and then call and then, hope I win. Oh, well, I tried. That's the important part. So then I get to play with a guy who looked a little bit like Jack Lemmon. He was a fishy player. He was going to be like tight post-flop, but he starts running hot. And then the game gets down to heads up with me and him because the game was breaking fast. It was a must move, and they're getting moved around. All of a sudden, it's just him and I offered a heads up, and he said, yeah. And I could tell the reason he said yes is because he was like thinking, oh, I'm on a hot streak. I should keep playing. And how hot was he running? Well, he was in the big blind, and I'm dealt ace-queen off, and he just open folds the big blind. It's not even his turn. He hasn't even been raised yet. So, all right. I guess he was right. He's on a hot streak. He can do no wrong right now. Then I got into a situation with kings where I could actually 4-bet out of position. It was against a nitty player, and you're, of course, praying he doesn't 5-bet. So he calls, and the flop comes ace, jack, 9, 2 spades. I have the king of spades. I mean, I know a standard line is probably fine for me to just bet, and if he calls, then probably just check fold the next street. But I think when you're going up against these nitty players in 4-bet pots who haven't 5-bet you, and you get this situation out of position, you don't even have to give him a street by betting into him if he has just ace-king or ace-queen suited. Because they're going to keep their range pretty faced up in these situations. So I check, and he checks back. And the turn wasn't very helpful. It was a queen. Now there's 2 diamonds. So now I'm worried about pocket queens, of course. And he could have pocket tens also, but I check, and he checks back. I mean, I'm check folding flop, and I'm check folding turn. His range is going to be too strong for him to be betting. People don't want to be check raised unless they're okay with being check raised, or think they'll be okay with being check raised. Well, they don't like to bluff that much to begin with, and they're going to be bluffing even less than 4-bet pots. The river's a 9. I bet 10% of the pot, and kings hold after he calls. Then I got a table change, and I got pocket aces, race to 20, and I get called by a nitty player who wasn't as deep as he was before. And, nitty players are prone to being spazzes when their plan of wait for the nuts all day and just wait till you have good hands and then just win all the pots you play. When that plan isn't working, that's when nits tend to spaz. They'll just get it in with anything. Well, not with anything, but then, I mean, look, everybody does this. When we're losing, we're much more prone to getting the stack in with them in a much more marginal spot because we've had enough losing for 5 hours and we just want to double up. So the flop comes 10-7-3, 2 spades. I have a spade. And I check. He pots 40. And I thought about check raising because, I know his 40 is going to be something significant, somewhat significant at least. But it's also big enough that it could be a little bit weak. So I just call. Turns an 8. I check. He bets 85. And now I'm very sure that this is probably just a 10x hand. So I raise to 275. He jams another 700-800. I call. He has queen 10 of diamonds, top pair, pure top pair, nothing else. And he loses. I beat him. Hooray. I finally played a significant all-in with way the best hand and won. That's quite an achievement for what's gone on these last few months. That hand reminded me a lot of what happened a few weeks ago, about a month ago, where I had jacks in a 3-bet pot. Where cutoff open, button flatted, I 3-bet, jacks, big blind, button flats again, brand new player. Literally a brand new player. I just came back from a break and it was my first hand in the blind and he had just joined the game. That flop came 10-8-8, rainbow, and I checked, raised him from 150 to 425. He jams 1200 total. I call, he has king 10 off and hits a 10 on the river. So very similar spot in terms of what my hand was versus their hands, and the result was adequate this time. Anyway, so now we have an interesting situation on our hands. So a man joins a game, and this man turned out to be a real freaking lunatic. Personality and in his play. He seemed like someone who would play in these Texas poker games you hear about. I mean, they're playing Hold'em, but from what I hear about those games, those Southern boys, I mean, they just want to gamble. I mean, they're going to play their hand, whatever it is. I mean, they'll probably have to fold a little bit, but they're going to see as many flops as they can, and they're going to just do the best with whatever they get, and they're going to run their crazy low equity bluffs, and they're just going to do all kinds of crazy shit. That's what this guy was. But before any of that was even revealed yet, he raises to 15, and there's a call. It's his first hand. And the button is a reg who actually seems like he could be a pretty good player, but he had also just joined the game, so I only knew so much about him. He 3-bet to 55, and I got aces in the big blind, and small blind folds, and so now I'm in a dream spot, and I'm thinking about what size I'm going to 4-bet to. But then this man who was wearing an upside-down black LA Dodgers hat, the LA was literally upside down. In fact, I didn't know it until someone pointed it out. I just thought it was some logo or symbol that I never saw before, I didn't care about. He 4-bets out of position to 155. And then the dealer says I'm still in. He's like, oh, I couldn't see his cards. His hand's covering them. And yeah, my hand was over my cards. I mean, not completely. It's true they were largely covered, but you could see they were still there. But not only that, you're the open raiser. There's been a 3-bet from the button. There's only 2 players left before you go. You saw the small blind fold. I mean, aren't you just sort of following the action, especially when you want a 4-bet? Aren't you going to just follow the action, stay up with who's in the pot? I mean, that seems like something people should be doing, but people just daydream and space out, even in the hands they're playing constantly. It's just, they never know what the fuck's going on. I mean, you got to fucking babysit everybody and hold their hand and walk them through everything. It's just It's insufferable. That's why I'm on the air here, banging my head against the wall about it. Anyway, so I was thinking that if I cold call the 55, he's going to be held to that 4-bet because I haven't changed the action. Right now, the action's 55. So if I don't 4-bet myself, I know if I 4-bet, he's going to get all his options back. So I figured if I don't 4-bet, then he has to 4-bet. And I thought about asking it, but I didn't want to ask that because if I ask, hey, if I call, doesn't he have to 4-bet? Like, that's pretty much a dead giveaway that you have aces or something damn close to it, right? I mean, how could you ask a question like that unless you wanted the guy to raise? And if you want the guy to raise, then what other hand could you have? So I just called, and then he just calls. And the dealer's pulling the bets in. He's going bang, bang, bang. He's about to deal the flop. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Then I stop the dealer. And now I do have to give my hand away because this dealer doesn't know the rules. I said, wait, isn't he held to that 4-bet? I said, like, and the dealer said, no. I was like, get a floor man. And the first floor man ruled with the player, said he doesn't have to 4-bet. But then they got another floor man over and said, yes, he does have to 4-bet because I didn't change the action. Yeah. So now we have to have him put his 4-bet back out to the size he picked, which I think was 155, but I didn't look super close at it because it happened so fast because the dealer told him that it was not his turn, so he pulled his 4-bet right away, so I didn't see the exact number. Long story short, they ended up letting this guy 4-bet to only 125, which was just completely fucking ridiculous. It should have been 155, should have been something along those lines. That I know what it was, but I was just like, okay, fine. So the first flatter of the 15 folds. Now the button who had 3-bet to 55, he realizes what's going on here. So he folds because there's like guaranteed that I'm going to 5-bet. And it's like, this is just such a fucking terrible thing to have happen because everyone has to know I have aces. You have to know I have aces here. So it's just variance as far as the dealer's not knowing where it ended up forcing me to speak up. But you know what? I would rather speak up, have this guy be forced to 4-bet, have everyone realize I have aces, than just go 3 ways to this flop with 3 players in there who've only put 55 in him, and I'm deep against one of them, the button, the guy who had just sat down. I think he had like 800. I'd rather just make him 4-bet than deal with this situation 3 ways. So I also figured he's probably going to be so tilted because he was getting very agitated at the whole situation, and that would just continue throughout his whole session that day and into the next day. But this guy, he's like, I'm not folding as soon as because I 5-bet to 300, and he just calls right away. And I was thinking, all right, I mean, I have a feeling this guy's just going to spaz and dump off on whatever the flop is anyway, which comes 9-3-5, rainbow. And it's like, so what size do I bet here? I mean, the size is, the pot is 670. I mean, what does the solver say to do in this situation after you've 5-bet and there's no chance you don't have aces and there's no chance everyone doesn't know you have aces? I mean, what are you supposed to do that? I mean, this is just the hazards of live poker, things that come up that no amount of studying the game from a theoretical perspective can ever prepare you for. So I just, all right, 225, I guess. He immediately folds and turns over 1 king and throws him cards to me, and one's face down. And I didn't look at it. I mean, even though he threw it to me, which seems like he's allowing me to look, but in any event, I mean, could he have really had pocket kings? I mean, there's 3 kings left and only 2 aces left, so you would think he had kings or ace king. And just based on card removal, he's 60% kings and 40% ace king. Now, would this man have folded kings based on the way he was playing after and just looking at all the things that he does? I doubt it. I mean, the guy was such an action maniac that he could convince himself that maybe I think queens are the best hand, or just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just couldn't see this guy folding kings. So I don't even know why he's showing 1 king faced up for. I mean, if he had kings, he probably would have just shown them both. So who knows? I mean, he wasn't 4-betting that light or even 3-betting that light. He wasn't doing much of either throughout the session. But for him to 4-bet there and snap fold that flop, I mean, it just couldn't have been kings. I just, some people would rather have the story. They don't want to have the courage to fall in a spot they know they have to. They'd rather just have the loser's story. They'd rather have an excuse for losing. They'd rather have oh, I can't believe it, I had this and this guy. I mean, feels like a lot of people live for that. They live for the story of, oh my God, can you believe how unlucky I am, rather than just playing really good. But all right. Wish I had more time to talk about all the other wonky things that went on with this guy, but we will get into that in the next episode. That'll get you warmed up. So, yeah. Enjoy yourselves, everybody. I'm going to go not play poker this week and probably just get fucked up most of the time and watch my friend get married. And then I'll be back. We'll finish the rest of these hand histories and the rest of the stories that went on with this temperamental man who complained relentlessly every time he lost a hand about anything. But of course, didn't seem to think anything was abnormal when he was hitting 2 pairs left and right with suited 17 gappers. But all right, that'll do, boys and girls. We'll see you next time.